Thank you all for coming, as we said, at short notice for this extraordinary meeting. We have apologies for absence from councillors Cronley, Eddy, Hayward, Kent, May, Payne, Wilcox and probably Onker as well. And now I'll pass over to the Chief for the fire alarm testing.
Thank you, Chair. Today we're not planning a test for the fire alarm, so if we do hear the fire alarm go off, then exit out the main doors and then out to the car park area where we'll do a roll call as part of the building's fire safety plan. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Chief. Declarations of interest. We've had none of ours before the meeting. Are there any here? No? Brilliant. Thank you. And there's no public access statements have been received. So we can move on to agenda item 5, Chair's business. As I said, welcome everyone. This extraordinary fire authority meeting is taking place at headquarters in Portishead, and we are recording the meeting for the public to view on the Fire Authority YouTube channel. And I'd like to pass over to the Chief. I'd also like to mention that over the weekend there were a couple of fatal incidences in our area which our crews dealt with, and I want to say thank you to them for dealing with those. I'll pass over to you, Chief.
Thank you, Chair. Members, you would have heard the tragic news recently of the incident that happened within Oxfordshire Fire and Rescue Service, which involved the tragic loss of life of 2 of our firefighters and also a member of public. And I wonder if you might indulge me in a minute's silence that we can stand together and remember David Chester, who is a member of public, and our 2 firefighters, Jenny Logan and Martin Sadler, and also memory of the people that have lost their lives within the county over the weekend. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you, everyone. Councillor Onker, please join us. Perfect timing, we're just about to do introductions. So, first off, I'll ask the members to introduce themselves. I'm Councillor Godwin from Bristol City Council, and I'll go to my left. Tom.
Councillor Tom Reynard, also from Bristol City Council.
Councillor Ron Hardy, representing Emerson's Green from South Gloucester Council.
Councillor Matthew Riddle, Severn Vale Ward, South Gloucestershire Council.
Councillor Yasin Mahmood, Lawrence Hill Ward, Bristol City Council.
Robin Moss, Westfield Ward, Bath North East Somerset.
Martin Williams, Custot Ward, North Somerset Council.
Ongar Thurney, Combe Ward, Bath North East Somerset Council.
Jane Stansfield, Thornbury Ward, South Gloucestershire Council.
Councillor Dan Thomas for North Somerset Council.
Thanks everyone, and I'll do the same now with officers, and again starting with my left.
Good morning, Amanda Brown, Clerk and Monitoring Officer for Avon Fire Authority. In fact, I think it's good afternoon now, isn't it?
Good afternoon, Matt Cook. I'm your Chief Fire Officer, Chief Executive. This is my first formal meeting, so it's an honour to be here, and I look forward to working for you all going forwards.
Thanks, Matt, and welcome. So if people could use their microphones when they're speaking, and then remember to turn them off. It's mainly for the YouTube recording to make sure your voices are captured. Any voting today will take place by asking members for a show of hands. I'll ask for votes against I'll ask for abstentions, and then I'll ask for votes for. So, moving on to agenda item 6 and the main part of the meeting, the appointment of the new clerk monitoring officer.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. Thank you, members. So today I'm presenting you with a report with two appendix. One is the monitoring officer job description, and the second one is the job advert. Now, it's with great sadness as the Chief Fire Officer, Chief Executive, that the clerk, Amanda Brown, formally gave her resignation to me, and which I've accepted, and that's an opportunity for Amanda to move forwards in her career. Now, I just wanted to start before I go into the paper was to say a huge thank you to Amanda for everything that she has given to Avon Fire Authority and Avon Fire and Rescue Service. An incredible amount of work, and really supportive, and really wanted to thank you formally for everything that you do. And I know it's been a short time that we've worked together, but you will be an absolute loss to the service. Sorry. Sorry. It would be remiss of me not to say. Could I share? Certainly.
And one other thing as well, as you know, I've been on the authority for quite some time, and I was trying to count up last night the amount of clerks I've worked with. I think it's, including temporary and interim ones, I think it's 8 or 9, and I have to say Amanda's just been, apart from her banana cake, which is even more fantastic, she's been so helpful, and it's been a pleasure. It's made my life on AJEC and then as chair a lot easier. Thank you.
Thank you. So today the report formally asks that the Fire Authority consider the recruitment process that we've set out within the report to move forward with recruitment of a statutory monitoring officer, and I emphasise that it is a statutory role for the Fire Authority to have a monitoring officer clerk in place. So the recommendations of the paper ask for 3 areas. One is to approve the job description for the new clerk monitoring officer, to approve the advert for the selection process, and again Appendix 1 and Appendix 2, and then to instruct me as your Chief Fire Officer, Chief Executive, to arrange for a staff engagement forum and convene a panel of elected members with a final presentation interview, so that we can select the next appointment. So again, I can take you through the paper itself just to highlight some key areas, and then I'm happy to open up for any questions. So in order that this is in line with the Fire Authority's Officer Employment Procedure Rules, and just to highlight the Section 4 in terms of financial implication. So this is, and again, a like-for-like ongoing replacement of the current officer role. So it doesn't look to change any of the arrangements that are already in place in terms of salary and pay. So it doesn't have any impact to our financial arrangements that are already in place. Again, this is a monitoring officer role that comes under the National Joint Council for Local Government Services under Green Book conditions. So again, none of that changes. Some of the key considerations are under the Officer Employment Procedure Rules. As your Chief Fire Officer, Chief Executive, I will be the lead officer for appointment of the new clerk monitoring officer, and we will look to identify 3 members of the authority, a lead officer and the head of people services to form that panel selection. The selection process itself is highlighted in 5.3 of the report, and that comprises of an application form, CV, a staff engagement forum. A staff engagement forum, Amanda and I have discussed, and we feel that would add an additional element into the process that would ensure that we can select the right candidate as a replacement, and then a final formal presentation interview with selection panel. Obviously, if instructed today, then I will start to comprise details of that selection process and make sure that is followed. And you will see in 5.4 there's an indicative timeline starting from today if approved, and then moving to appointment on the 1st of November would be our timeline. However, obviously given selection processes, that can either be sooner or later depending on how it progresses. There are some risks in terms of, so I just highlight under Section 5 of the Local Government and Housing Act, it is the authority's monitoring officer responsibility to oversee all reporting and lawful decision making. It is also the monitoring officer's duty to prepare a report for the authority and to identify any concerns. So again, I highlight that it is a statutory role, therefore it is a legal requirement to have a monitoring officer in place for the authority, and that's highlighted in section 7.1. In order to manage the risks associated with that, myself and Amanda, as a current monitoring officer, we've put in a arrangement in place through One Legal, and we've got a legal advisor, Shazia Dyer, who has confirmed that she's willing to provide temporary monitoring officer cover as needed. That ensures that we can maintain continuity for the Fire Authority whilst we progress with a thorough selection process for the next candidate and next appointment. And that brings me to the end of the report, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thanks, Chief. And just to mention, I've worked with Shazia at Bristol City Council, and I think once on the Fire Authority as well. And she is very good, so I'm happy with the cover. So questions? Dan?
Just a very quick one. The staff engagement forum, can you tell us what that would entail? It's not something I've seen before in previous recruitment processes.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you, Councillor, for the question. Again, staff engagement forum is where we would convene a panel of staff members and key stakeholders from across the organisation, and we will set up a series of questions for the individual candidates, and then it's about measuring against the job description, which is highlighted in Appendix 1. So one of the key things for the monitoring officer role is it's a leadership role, both for the authority and for the wider organisation. And again, having staff engagement feedback is really important as part of our culture journey as a fire authority and fire and rescue service.
Thank you.
I don't know if it helps. I went through a similar process at South Wales, and it's sometimes regarded as a more informal interview stage. I don't think there ever is an informal interview, but it's hoped that people show their personality a bit more because it's less sort of structured, and it encourages the candidate to speak more openly with a greater representative of people across the organisation. So an FBU rep will generally be there, for example, and it just helps staff gauge whether they think that's someone they can work with.
And that's after the shortlisting as well. So,
Yes.
Any other questions, Robin?
Thank you for the report. Just a couple of things. First of all, can I check on the status of the employment panel? Is it advisory to you as Chief Fire Officer, or is it a decision-making body? So it's
So I will be convening the panel on behalf of the authority, but it's an authority decision on appointment because it's a statutory role. Obviously, as a corporate member of the board, I will provide you professional advice, but it's your decision ultimately.
fine. So slightly different to the recent, one of the recent appointments that was actually made. Thank you for that. Happy to hear that there is a risk assessment in place in cases not able to appoint. That's great. And certainly on the staff engagement panels, I've always found them very useful, both here and in Baines, to be having some kind of reporting back to the appointments panel. So I think it's good to have that in place. Thank you.
Ron?
Yeah, thanks. Just a very, very quick one, because I'm not that bright. Under principal accountabilities, at 3.8, it says advise members and officers on VIAS issues. What's a VIA issue?
It's the Latin term, I think it's ultra vires, which means illegal, effectively. So it's just an old-fashioned Latin term. So beyond powers, yes, beyond powers.
All right, thank you.
I wasn't expecting a test on Latin.
It does raise, thank you, Councillor, it does raise an important point. Given it's a statutory clerk monitoring officer role, it's a key part of also the statutory finance officer. So those two statutory positions, working with the Chief Fire Officer, Chief Executive on behalf of the authority, ensures that we are doing our due diligence in terms of decision making. So yeah, thank you.
And Ron, in the papers I'd actually highlighted that to see if it was either a spelling mistake or get it explained to me, so you're not alone. You're not alone. Do we have any other questions on the procedure or the job description, advert? We're all happy with that. Fabulous. Okay, so we are asked to approve the job description, approve the advert and selection process, instruct the CFO-CE to arrange a staff engagement forum and a panel of elected members, and to approve interim arrangements for contracted monitoring officer cover.
So that was an addition that I put in the first set of papers. In the second set of papers, that recommendation doesn't appear. So I think it... Chief, do you want to?
Yeah, so that's obviously something that I've put in place as Chief Executive to make sure that we've got continuity whilst we go through the selection process. So it's not something that that needs a decision on, because it's part of managing the risk on your behalf. So there's an operational element to it to make sure we've got that continuity.
Thanks, and working from paper, obviously I'm behind the times. So we'll just go with the A, B and C, the job description, the advert and selection process, and the panel and staff engagement forum. I'd like to take it all as one vote. I hope that's okay. Are there any votes against?
Can I get a seconder?
Dan, yeah, thank you very much. And thank you, Amanda. See, that's...
Case in point.
I'll rest my case. So, are there any votes against? Are there any abstentions? And all votes in favour? Fabulous. Okay, that's it. We have approved that. The date of the next meeting is the AGM on the 30th of June, and that's at Western Fire Station, so a day out by the seaside.
It is also in the morning, members, which is slightly unusual, just in case that catches you out. And the reason we've got it in the morning is so that people who want to travel to the LGA conference have got travelling time that day. So just sorry for that, but yeah, it is at Western. It should be a good meeting because it's in a fire station.
Thanks all. You're free to enjoy the rest of your sunny day, hopefully.